Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I have a second 9th Age battle report for you using the 0.99 release. I'm playing Kingdom of Aquitaine again versus Dread Owls, and this is my second game for the Mighty Empires campaign. So just filling you in a little bit, end of the last round, these are the points that people had after playing their games. So I had the second highest, which is pretty good. And as you can see here, this is our map with the tiles. I'm the green player. I was able to buy some mountains and put a mine there. Other people expanded, and we've had a new player join, another Kingdom of Aquitaine player who's the white player. So hopefully this round I was wanting to grab some more tiles, maybe build another city or another mine on that. Okay, here is my list for this game. So I was trying out the Hippogriff Duke with the Lance and the Virtue of Might, taking kind of the Knights Forlorn and the Knights of the Quest just to try them out, the Green Knight just to try them out as well, and just putting a note there that my list is over because for this campaign I was allowed to. And here is the Dread Elf list. So Lord on a Pegasus, the Divine Altar as the BSB, big chunk of KoE because he made his list using 0.11, not realizing that there was a new one out, so he was actually playing a few points down. Here is some deployment. So his general's all the way on the side, the Blades of Nab are there. He's got his chariot next to his Divine Altar, Hydra directly in the center, his two bolt throwers deployed close together in the center. He's got a unit of 11 repeater auxiliaries with the Oracle inside, and the executioners there are standing in as the legionnaires with spears. And my deployments, I couldn't really scout the questing knights, I just plonked them there. 3 Grail Knights, some bowmen, trebuchet, my lord, and behind some aspirants, my men-at-arms, another unit of 5 Knights Aspirant, 9 Knights of the Realm with a damsel and my BSB, trebuchet, and my other Grail Knights. So Dread Owls managed to get the first turn. He moves everything up, trying to stay out of my reasonable charge ranges from all my knights, seeing as I can get quite far across the board. So he just moves everything up. For my list, I chose the Blessing, which gives me the 5-up ward against anything which has armor piercing, which I thought would be quite good against Dread Elves. And I tried to do deployment in such a way that I didn't give him any bonuses to the starting roll to go first, seeing as I couldn't get any bonuses myself. For the magic phase, he rolls a 5 and a 6 for the first turn, which is really annoying. He casts a boosted Freezing Gale at the Grail Knights on my left flank, and he manages to kill one of them. He then casts Soul Leech at my BSB. Gets quite a lot, 20 or so on 5 dice. I throw my 6 at it, but I only get 16 to stop it, which is really disappointing. So leadership test roll off, he rolls a 6, I roll a 1, I fail a whole bunch of ward saves, and my BSB is dead in the first turn. So the Dark Riders shoot at the Grails, they do nothing. The auxiliaries shoot the Knights of the Realm, they do nothing. And then the 2 repeater bolt throwers also do no wounds. The Chariot Riders shoot and kill one of the Grails on the left hand flank. Into my first turn now, I measure a bunch of long charges. I declared the Knights Aspirant into the Hydra, the other unit into the Chariot, and my Grails into the Dark Raiders up on the hill. So stand and shoot from the Chariot does nothing. The Knights Aspirant make it into the Chariot with the rerolls from being Knights Aspirant, and everyone else fails, sadly. So just checking the rolls for ambush now. It says in the second player turn, and we assume that this was the second player turn, not my second turn. So my Knights Forlorn and the Green Knight both come on. Questing Knight moves outside of the charge arc with Blades of Nab, and I chunk my Grail Knight right in front of them just to tempt them with their frenzy. In the magic phase now, I only get a few dice, I throw them all at Comet. He chooses not to dispel with his 2 dice, and he doesn't use his scroll, so I have a Comet of Cassandora right next to his general and the chariot there. In the shooting phase, Trebuchet kills 2 of his legionnaires, archers fail to shoot the Hydra, and the other Trebuchet misses the Blades of Nab. Moving on to the combat phase, his chariot riders kill 1 of my knights aspirant. My knights attack back, he makes all his armor saves, my horses do 2 wounds, and his raptors kill another knight aspirant. He loses but he sticks. And that's the end of my turn. On to his turn 2 now, the blades charge my Grail Knight and the altar crashes into the side of the Knight's Aspirants. He decides to just leave my ambushes alone, moves everything up on the left flank a bit, and onto magic. So it does a boosted Freezing Gale at the Green Knight, which I decide to use my Dispel Scroll on. He then also tries Soul Leech at the Green Knight, which I dispel with all 6 of my dice pretty easily. And the Comet doesn't appear. In the shooting phase now, the Dark Riders shoot the Grails, cause no wounds. Repeater Auxiliary shoot the Knights of the Realm and do no wounds. And the Repeater Bolt Throwers then manage to kill 1 of the Knights of the Realm finally. In the combat phase, he just completely wipes out the Knight's Aspirant and reforms. And then the Grail Knight fails to kill a single one of his units. He fails to win me back. Of course, I run away and he doesn't catch me, but I don't make it off the board either. So that brings us to my turn 2. I declare a whole lot of charges. So the Knights Aspirant charge the Hydra, the Grails charge the flank of the Legionnaires, the Knights of the Realm charge the Repeater Auxiliaries, and my Questing Knights charge the Chariot. So his stand and shoot manages to do nothing, and I make all my charges, which is really nice. I realize now that I forgot to charge my General into the Hydra as well, but oh well. Men-at-Arms just reform to face the Blades, and my General flies up onto the hill. In my magic phase, I try to cast Blizzard onto the Legionnaires, and he uses his Dispel Scroll seeing as he's about to die. It's at this point that the Comet comes down and does a lot of damage, so a whole bunch of Aspirants die. I do, I think, 3 wounds to his Hydra, 3 wounds to his Divine Altar, the Chariot gets completely destroyed, and I kill 4 of my own Questing Knights. And also managed to do 3 wounds to my General, which is a little bit crushing. It makes me feel like I don't want to throw him into any fights from this point on. And it also leaves my Questing Knights with no target, so they couldn't overrun, which leaves a nice flank open for the Divine Altar. In the combat phase now, my Grail Knights kill 6 Legionnaires with their 6 attacks. I think the horses managed to kill 1 or 2 more. They auto break, run away, I catch them, and I overrun into the next combat here. So in this next combat, he maybe kills 1 Knight of the Realm, but apart from that, I completely wipe him out here as well. He runs away, my Grail Knights catch him, and the Knights of the Realm reform to face the rest of the battlefield. So at the back there, I didn't say these charges, but the Knights full on completely killed the Repeater Bolt Thrower, overrun into the next one. The Hydra attacks, manages to eat 1 of the Knight's Aspirant. The Green Knight completely fluffs all his rolls, fails to do anything. I win, but he stays there. So at this point, I just want to pause the video and have a quick review of my second turn. So my right flank has done incredibly well. So I've killed 2 of his units. They've run away. I've killed a Bolt Thrower. I'm set up to take down the next Bolt Thrower. My Knights of the Realm are ready to charge into the Hydra if necessary. So my right flank's looking great. On the other hand, my left flank has almost fallen apart. So my own Comet kind of left my Questing Knights in a pretty dangerous place. They couldn't overrun now, which means they're going to get charged by the Divine Altar in the next turn. My General's down 3 wounds of his 4 wounds, so he's got 1 left. If I throw him into the Divine Altar, he's going to die. The Oracle on top of them has or Cult Priest on top has a much higher initiative than my General. He's just going to die straight away. So my left flank, I hope I can recover from this in future turns, and I guess we'll find out. So into Dread Owl's turn 3, the Dark Raiders charge into my Trebuchet, Divine Altar crashes into my Questing Knights, and then he turns his Blades of Nav around. He flies his General to be next to my Knights of the Realm, but out of their charge arc. He then does a Freezing Gale on the Knights of the Realm, manages to kill 4 of them, but they pass their panic check thankfully. He has no shooting. In combat, the Raiders completely destroy the Trebuchet as expected. The Hydra attacks, eats the remaining Knight's Aspirant, and the Green Knight finally does something and kills the remaining 2 wounds on the Hydra. The impact hits, combined with the Cult Priest on top, completely destroy all the 4 remaining Questing Knights before they could even do anything. So these guys they just wasted my points for that thing. They didn't do a single thing. So my turn 3 now, I'm trying to work out how I can save this left flank. So the Green Knight's going to charge the Divine Altar in the rear. I'm deciding to just leave everything else as is. My General just flies around to be out of everyone's charge arc. The Archers move around a little bit, the Ground Knights move up, and the Knights of the Realm just face his General down, stare him down. I throw all my dice into Comet again. I managed to get it just in front of the Blades of Nab. Trebuchet does a few wounds as well. Archers kill 1. In combat, I lose 1 Forlorn, but I completely destroy his Bolt Thrower, but it's such a short overrun, which is disappointing. And in combat versus the Divine Altar, he goes first, he attacks, he does 2 wounds to my Green Knight. I attack back, he does no wounds in return, but it is a drawn combat because of my Comet Res from charging him in the rear. He reforms his Divine Altar to face me. In his turn 4, he fails a charge against my Men-at-Arms, which he's very, very upset about. His General flies behind my Knights of the Realm, and then does another Freezing Gale. He kills the Damsel, and he kills all but 1 Knight. And of course that 1 Knight fails his panic check, flees straight through the Forlorn Knights, who fail their panic check, and they flee. Luckily they all stay on the board, which gives me 1 more chance. The Comet came down, killed 4 of his Blades of Nab, and in combat the Divine Altar crushes the Green Knight and reforms. On to my turn 4, I charge the Men-at-Arms and the General into his Blades of Nab, hoping I can do something. And of course my Forlorns and the remaining Questing Knight run off the board. Shooting is completely ineffective. I have no magic phase anymore. In combat, my Lord strikes first. He does 5 wounds, but he manages to make 3 of the 5 ward saves. 2 new attacks, I managed to kill an extra 1. In his attacks back, he kills 5 Men-at-Arms, doesn't kill my General. My Hippogriff does a few more wounds. He loses, he's down to leadership 5, and he re-rolls. He makes it with a 5 on the second one, which is so disappointing. His turn's 5, I think now. Divine Altar crashes into the Men-at-Arms. He tries a Freezing Gale at the Ground Knights and doesn't kill any, I think. Into the combat phase, he crushes a whole bunch of Men-at-Arms with the impact attacks, the Cult Priest, and the Maidens or whatever it is on top. My Lord goes, he does a bit of a failure, switching to his Halberd, kills another 3. Of course, his unit goes, wipes out all but 2 of my Men-at-Arms. I auto break from this combat, I run away, his Divine Altar chases down my Men-at-Arms. They die, and of course when my General flees I roll a 4, a 2 and a 1, and he gets chased down as well. In my turn I've got my Grails and my Archers left. I'm just kind of staying out of his charge arc with the Grails. Archers shoot and kill 2 of his Dark Raiders. They pass their panic check, so they're obviously going to be killed next turn. So in his turn, he can't charge me, he just turns to face. The Raiders charge in against my Archers, and his General just flies up behind my Ground Knights. Does another Freezing Gale, kills 1 of them. And in the combat phase, I kill 1 more Dark Raider, but of course he annihilates the rest of my guys. And in my final turn, I do 1 last charge with my Ground Knights. I managed to lose one before he gets to strike, and with the remaining Grail Knight, I do only one wound to the Divine Altar, leaving it on one. So I just quite didn't get there, which is so frustrating with my one last unit on the board. So that whole thing could have gone a lot better, could have gone a lot differently if a few things had happened. I think the Knights Forlorn panicking off the board definitely made a big difference. Flying into my own comet, that was a bit of a stupid thing for me to do. I just wasn't thinking correctly. So hopefully I learn from my mistakes for the next game. After adding all the points up for banners and things like that, we weren't playing any secondary objectives. My opponent was quite new to 9th age, so we thought we'd leave that out. So I got 1450 points, he got 2735, which is a difference of 1285, which is only 85 over the 50% mark, which means he scored a massacre against me. So if you'd asked me how things would have gone at the end of my second turn, I would have said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I got this in the bag. But don't get too cocky, guys. Things can happen that are way beyond your control. So this leaves me with only one Empire point for our Mighty Empires campaign, which means I can do jack all. I can do a raid to generate some gold, and the only thing gold is useful for is kind of buying extra points to use in your games. So thanks again for watching, everyone. Thanks for sticking with me with my horrible defeat. Hopefully I'll be bringing you some more games from my Mighty Empires campaign. I can do a bit better next time. Let me know if you're enjoying that kind of review of how the campaign's going, if you want a bit more detail about how Mighty Empires campaign is played, because there's quite a lot more to it than just fighting battles and getting points. There's a whole event phase which we go through where people challenge each other and stuff like that. So let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more of that or anything else I can tweak to make these battle reports a little bit easier to watch for you guys and a little bit more enjoyable. Thanks again. See you guys later.